And we head to Morocco, where Jacqueline Christian from Romania taking on one of my top team prospects, Maya Joint. As always, my coverage is brought to you via the Doctrine of Fair Use to Fair Dealing and the Digital Millennium Act. 19 years old from the USA. She's now a resident of Australia. However, is she going back to college or not? Because she is blazing, ladies and gentlemen, coming off of a 62-win season last year. I told you to watch out for Maya Joint. 30-13 on the year. One of my top teen prospects. I said, listen, guys, she's going to win a championship this year. And sure enough, ladies and gentlemen, taking out some pretty darn stiff competition. We're talking about Anna Konjua. What about Katie Volinets, Ann Lee, Isla Tomjanovic? And here in the championship match against Jacqueline Christian from Romania, Maya Joint would come out guns blazing, ladies and gentlemen. The first set, she just dominated Jacqueline. That's right, guys. She would win 50% of her first serves and 89% of Jacqueline's second serves, breaking her 3 times. The first set was a blowout for the most part. Jacqueline would hang in there and get a couple breaks herself, but overall, Maya just stepped in on the second serve and just dominated Jacqueline. Now, I talk about on the lower level how just about everyone's a good shot maker, right? Now, the difference between jumping up from the lower level, in my opinion, to the main tour, a couple things you need, right? To be on my top team prospect list, you need to have power. That's going to separate you from a lot of the ITF women. And it's mobility, it's footwork. Doesn't matter how good of a shot maker you are. If you can't close out and be in position to defend, return, attack, then it's just not going to matter. And that's just the one thing with Maya I felt she needed to work on a little bit. And if you've seen her this year, ladies and gentlemen, she certainly is moving. Jacqueline was just nowhere near these bombs that Maya was dropping. Isla yesterday, nowhere near these bombs. Ann Lee, Katie Volinets. Joint she looks very, very comfortable on clay. Now, she, for the most part, more than half of her wins come on the hard court, playing in Australia. That's all you're going to get out there is hard court. But she had a very good clay season last year, 21-8. She's 10-3 to start the clay season this year. And she wins this championship. She is no longer a prospect. She's a contender. I told you she would be. And again, the great ball striking. Jacqueline was nowhere near these bombs. Another championship, ladies and gentlemen, as Sophie would say, Elena Rybakina taking on Ludmila. Now, Ludmila has dominated this head-to-head, right? 4-1. No secret that Ludmila's short balls frustrate Elena Rybakina, getting her off of the baseline, making the giant from Kazakhstan have to come forward. But Elena started fast, and she needed that. 6 aces in the first set alone. She'd win 70% of her first serves, 50% of Ludmila's first serves, and 67% of Ludmila's second serves. Ludmila would take a break and come back and get the car started again. Ludmila looked really good in the second set. As look, night and day, she would improve on the first serve, winning 73% of those, winning 70% of Elena's second serve. And she was up a break. She had the chance to serve out the second set, 6-4, but Rybakina would break back, force a tiebreak, and Ludmila would hang on. But this is why I think Ludmila plays Elena so well. No man's land. She's defending drop shots. She's forcing Elena to come forward, and that's what you want to do with the giant from Kazakhstan. And I just feel she returns Elena's high balls very well. Look how high that is. That's going to be very difficult to return, but also this is why I think Jasmine Paolini struggles against Ludmila. If you look at Jasmine, when she goes into that forehand and sometimes on the back end, she's so short. Jasmine's jumping into these shots. And when Ludmila gives her these high balls, just Jasmine's making so many errors. Jasmine's very comfortable. She doesn't have to jump into the shots because she's so short. And Ludmila's reach, her wingspan, the height of her ball, it's just very troublesome for Jasmine. And if you're looking to defeat Jasmine, you have to take a look at how Ludmila plays her, because I'm telling you guys, Jasmine has no answers for Ludmilla. She's one of the few people on tour, players on tour, that I've seen Jasmine not have an answer for. Now, the second set, Elena was very frustrated, yelling at her camp, but I haven't talked a lot about Elena this year because it's been just too much drama. But she's quietly getting the job done, 22-9 on the year. And we need this, right? We need her to go deep in tournaments. We want to talk about her on the network, right? She took out Wong, Lynette, Beatrice Haddad to get her to the final. And a challenge. A lot of people didn't think she could beat Ludmilla because she hasn't done well against her historically. Losing of the 5 times they played, she's lost 4 of them. And again, I think it's because Ludmilla's ability to go to the short ball and get Elena to come forward. That's really all it is. She's uncomfortable, and she knows her game. I mean, coming up in Russia, she knows who Ludmilla is. We're going to reference Iga Swiatek a few years ago, one of the famous quotes on the channel here. Iga, I know who she is. I seen her around. That's what she said about Ludmilla. Unbelievable. But yes, guys, it's complete. Elena Rybakina, she wins Strasbourg, and that's good. She needed this championship. Gonna get ready for the French Open, guys. Stay tuned. We got a lot of coverage. I'm going to go round by round, give you my predictions. Really quick, update on the WTA rankings. Sabalenka's still number 1, 10,000 points. Coco's number 2, 6,800 points. Pegula's 3, 6,300 points. Jasmine Paolini ranked 4, 5,800 points. Iga right behind Jasmine, 5,800 points. She's only behind Jasmine by 27 points. So this is going to be a big French Open to see if the rankings shuffle. Again, that 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd spot, there could be a lot of shuffling, as well as the 6th, where Mira's there at 4,900 points. Ken Wynn's there at 7th with 4,300 points. Madison Keys, 8th, 4,100 points. Even Emma Navarro still ranked 9th, 3,800 points. And Paula Badosa, the 10th player in the world, 3,700 points. It's going to be interesting because Elena's right on the heels of Paula Badosa. The race to the finals, guys. Coco, an amazing last month. She is now in contention to defend her title. And in terms of the race to the finals, the live rankings, again, it's interesting. Sabalenka, 5,100 points. Keys, 3,300 points, winning the Australian Open. Mira, 3,000 points, number 3. Iga, 4, 2,800 points. Pegula, 5th, 2,600 points. Coco, 6th with 2,600 points as well, only 10 behind Pegula in the live race to the finals. Jasmine, number 7, 2,200 points. And Elena Rybakina, she is 8th with 1,700 points. So if the WTA finals started today, those would be your players. Pretty good draw there, right? But again, a big French Open is going to determine a lot. I think there's going to be a lot of shuffling in those rankings. Tennis in a minute, guys. Stay tuned. We're going to look at the draw. We'll be back.